crew is here. Charlie Langton. Hi, Charlie.
Hello, Dina and Lee and Ryan.
My man.
All rise.
We have a lot to talk to you about today. First of all, how you doing? How you feeling?
Yeah, everything is going well today. It's a beautiful day outside. Woodward Dream Cruise is kind of getting underway on Woodward, and there's a lot of things going on. There's also a lot of things going on.
They're allowed to do that?
Back it up. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Woodward Dream Cruise?
Yeah.
There's people out there probably right now. Absolutely. Even though it's unofficial.
Was this the weekend for it?
Huh?
Was this going to be the weekend for it?
Yes, Saturday is the official day. But you know, in years past, there have been lots of cars lined up on Woodward, driving down Woodward.
Yeah.
And this year is no different. The only difference is that because of COVID, no corporate stuff.
But you can't get ticketed for that if you're all close to people with your cars parked in a parking lot like they always do?
So a lot of the people, some of the police officers say that they are going to try to move these cars along if you decide to park your car.
Yes.
Be careful about that. But you cannot be prevented from driving up and down Woodward, and many, many are. So it's
the official Dream Cruise was canceled, right, Charlie?
Right.
Canceled officially, that's right.
Okay, just making sure I know what I'm talking about. All right.
Yep.
Wow. Well, thank you. That was interesting.
It was.
Let's talk about Geoffrey Fieger being sued. Break this down for us.
All right, so here's what's happening. So there's a 33-year-old attorney in his office. She had been working there. Paulina Milner, I believe her name is. She is worked there for a couple of years. She's got a 2-year-old kid at home. The kid came down with some symptoms of COVID, at least she says. She wanted to work from home. Essentially, Fieger said no, and eventually Fieger fired her. Okay, that's essentially what happened. So she hires an attorney, Deborah Gordon, who's a very well-known employment attorney. She brings a federal lawsuit against Geoffrey Fieger. So let's break it down now. Number one is just forget COVID for just one moment. Do you have a right to work from home? And I think a lot of people are going to be thinking about this. Well, my kid is at school because schools are now going to be working remotely, but I've got a job. What do I do? The law probably, because there's no cases on this, probably doesn't really protect people from just saying, I want to work at home. If the boss says you have to come in, again, there's some issues here because you're supposed to work remotely, but if you cannot work remotely, you've got to come in. Or if you're an essential worker, you have to come into the office. And again, people can argue about what that means. But the bottom line here is she wanted to work remotely. Fieger said, no, you can't do it. Okay, now, let's go to COVID stuff. She says my kid is sick with COVID. Well, there's a couple of different laws that protect people if they have to take care of their sick family members. Let's forget COVID for just one moment. There's something called the Family Medical Leave Act, okay? Basically, you get 12 weeks of unpaid, you're unpaid, but your job is protected if you have to take care of a sick family member. So just right there, forget COVID, because I think Jeff Fieger is saying, we don't know if she had we never got a doctor's note. We don't know if she had COVID. We don't know about that. But just under the Family Medical Law Act, your job is protected for 12 weeks, can't be fired, don't get paid, but you can't be fired, and you can keep your job if your family member is sick. Arguably, in this case, if we just did that, she's got a case under family medical leave. And what's the damages? She can get her wages. She can get, maybe some pain and suffering. She can get attorney fees likely. So right there is that. But the law now under COVID, the Congress created something called the Expanded Federal Medical Leave Act, which actually allows for a paid 10 weeks paid if you or someone has COVID. You can actually get paid for 10 weeks, and your job must remain open. So I'm not liking the Fieger defense here. However, to defend this, Fieger said...
What is his defense? Yeah.
Fieger said, remember, it's got to be either you have COVID, the kid has COVID, or the kid is sick, something along those lines. Fieger said, why would this attorney clean out her desk? The attorney, as I understand the facts here, cleaned out her desk after she took a day off or so. If you clean out your desk, that could be used by Fieger to say she quit. And if you quit, you don't get any protection on any of this stuff, arguably. So there's always two sides to a story. But that's kind of where the maneuvering is going to be, is the kid really sick? And did this person really want the job? I think that's kind of where, in a big picture, that's where it's going to go.
Charlie, big picture, and to put this case almost on the side, if you have COVID, if you suspect somebody has COVID, that's one thing. What if you live with somebody who's compromised and you're in this position, who has a compromised immune system? We hear that a lot. And you want to work from home.
Narrow the question down. You want to work from home. Why? Because you have to take care of someone with COVID or someone who's compromised? I'd say today, at least under the Congress, you probably are able to do that. Again,
these are all new.
This is gray. We don't have a case on it. If you can put it into the COVID world somehow, it's better. But if you can't, I think you're out of luck. And again, this is gray, and you really want to go and fight your employer. I mean, do you want the job or you don't want the job? I mean, that's the first question that I ask.
It sounded like, and this is a very simplified version, when I read the case, it sounded like her kid got sick. The daycare said, this kid can't come here. He might have COVID. He's got respiratory problems. And it sounded like she wanted to just work from home so she could stay with her kid, because you can't, in this pandemic, you can't just hire a babysitter to come and stay with your sick kid who might have COVID.
Right. And
then she got fired. Now, that's the very simplified, one-sided version.
And probably what Geoff Fieger should have done is say, okay, go ahead, work from home, or don't work, take family medical leave with no pay, and we'll see what happens. Remember, 12 weeks, even 10 weeks, almost 3 months. It's a long time. A lot of things can happen.
But you don't clean out, Charlie, you don't clean out your whole desk. You don't clean out your whole desk and your whole office to work from home. You take part of it. Just saying. I know we have to move on. Just saying.
That's
People right here are trying to take their chairs home.
Music means commercial. 15-year-old Oakland County girl who was jailed in part for not doing her homework has been released. Charlie's been on this for a while. What led to this decision? You'll hear from Mr. Langton coming up next.